Hi, I'm Lieber King with Louisiana Football TV Magazine. We have a great show tonight. Mickey Guidry, former LSU quarterback, Shaw High School on the West Bank. His son's going to be on the show, Dunham High School. Rhett Guidry, a tight end, defensive end. Also Devin Taylor, a great athlete from Dunham High School. Michael Mauti, former Saints linebacker, Penn State, and skipper, Mandeville skipper, high school football great. And also the head coach at Mandeville, Hutch Gonzales, who is a former Hahnville graduate, and also Voodoo, and also the Canadian League. And we also got a call in from Coach Jim Gatlin from Northwoods High School in Shreveport. He's got one of the top quarterbacks in the state, Luke Bogan, that's thrown for over 8,000 yards in the last 2 years. We'll be right back.
Honey, what's wrong with the disposer?
What disposer?
Clogged drain. Call Roto-Rooter, America's neighborhood drain expert.
When I tore my ACL, I didn't think I'd ever be able to play soccer again. My doctor told me how important physical therapy would be, so I chose Peak. I'm glad I did. Now I'm stronger, faster, better than ever. Choose Peak.
Choose Peak Performance Physical Therapy.
I'll leave for a little while. And all you other letters think you can take over my town. Look at you. None of you's even involved. If the people want the money they deserve for their accident,
The E-guarantee.
and as for you other letters, it's time you were erased.
Exercising is my life, so when I had to stop because of my foot and ankle pain, I was absolutely devastated. I chose Peak and they taught me how to relieve the pain. They really do bring out the athlete in everyone. Choose Peak.
Choose Peak Performance Physical Therapy.
Welcome back. Lieber King, Louisiana Football TV Magazine. I want to thank Superior Grill. We'll be giving all our guests Superior Grill certificates. Bob Kirchhoff, they're in New Orleans on St. Charles Avenue. Also in Shreveport, Baton Rouge on Government Street, and their new location, Highland Road, close to LSU. That's Superior Grill. Thank them for their support. 23 years they've been supporters of our magazine and our TV show. I want to go ahead and get back to the show. And before I introduce our guest, I want to talk a little bit about him. But Hutch Gonzales, let me make a correction. In my head, I don't know, I thought Hahnville, but Covington, and I think the whole community will be mad at me. He played at Covington. He was a Covington Lion, not a Tiger.
That's correct.
So I want to get that straight. Hal Mommy might have told me that the other day. Who knows? I mean, his coach at Southeastern, they brought the program back. 1,000 guys, I thought 400 guys came out to try out, and Hutch made the team and did really well at Southeastern. Man, it seems like yesterday. You were on the show 9 years ago.
Yes. Yeah, while I was playing.
With Kurt Hester.
Let's see. Gosh, it has to be, is it 9 years ago?
9, almost 10.
Golly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like that long ago, but yeah.
And now you're the head coach at Mandeville High School, doing a great job with the Skippers, and went to one of your games 3 weeks ago. And you have a great guy with you that played at Mandeville, played for the Saints, Michael Mauti. Thank you, Michael, for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you for coming back to high school football. You didn't really have to go back in the coaching, but to join up with this guy, and y'all got a great staff.
Yeah, look, it's been so much fun. For me, part of being a professional athlete, or at least coming out of the state of Louisiana, to be able to play for the hometown team that I grew up watching and that my dad played for, but to be able to give back to the place, the community that put me out into the world, or at least help develop those things, it's really is fulfilling and special. And we got some good kids at the high school, great to work with, and I appreciate Coach Hutch for giving me that opportunity.
And it seems like yesterday, I mean, this is like, heck, I'm scared to say, but 15 years ago, 14, 13 years ago, I don't know, I'm at a Mandeville practice. I'm watching you practice. It's like a Wednesday, and your dad's there, Rich, who played for the Saints, and he's like, I got a seat in the stands, and there's a lot of guys there. A lot of dads. And I'm like, yeah, let me take it in. He's like, and your dad wasn't overpowering. He was the typical, I played the game. He said, take it in, tell me what you think after. I was like, man, that's the greatest. And I'm watching you, and you're knocking everybody out in practice, like a ping pong ball. And I'm like, who's this 6'2", 225 guy roaming around? I'm like, man, this guy's a real deal.
My dad really never pressured me. He kind of stayed, hands off, and he was probably just getting a feel for, looking back now, he's probably just, okay, you've seen a lot of talent come through and, over the years, and so he's probably trying to get a little bit of a gauge there.
I love the angle, and it was normal, it was natural, and then I go to the game, and what I really admired in talking to Coach, and we're going to show a picture in a few minutes of the whole staff. I took the picture from my cell phone.
Photo credit.
But your guys were like, a picture of all of us? And but you said watch number 9, one of your linebackers.
I did.
And I said, I'm going to watch him. And sure enough, man, I'm like, man, that guy's going to be good. And he's only a junior. We won't bring his name out. He's an underclassman, but he's a guy that you're working with, coaching linebackers. And then the team, Hutch, you got a great young team.
We're really excited because the guys that we brought back did have experience. They were kind of forced into a situation where a lot of them played as underclassmen. And then last year we had some guys who would, kind of earn the right to play as seniors, and so we let those guys do their thing. And these guys got a lot of playing time, but they kind of waited in the wings, and they've really exploded onto the scene as far as really defensively. And a lot of the guys that that Mike's working with and his group, they're special kids, and they're good players. And I think just the amount of experience that they were able to get as underclassmen, and now still being underclassmen, really a lot of them are juniors, and they still have a lot more to give for the next couple seasons, which we're really excited about.
There's a lot of good football on the North Shore. Everybody looks at the Catholic League in New Orleans, and people watch this show in Shreveport, watching it in Baton Rouge, they watch it in Lafayette, Alma, all the way to Grand Isle and all the way to Natchitoches and Ruston. But there's some good football talent in the North Shore. I mean, Covington, where you went to schools, have got players. Brumfield was one of the great ones a couple of years ago at running back. They've had the whole late Coach Salter was one of the best in the state. Mandeville's had their teams. Slidell's coming back. Y'all got a tough game with them. They got some good players. And, even Fontainebleau and the Ponchatoula's that are, in Tangipahoa Parish and even Hammond. I mean, there's talent at these schools.
Tons of talent. I mean,
North Shore.
Yeah, I think all the schools in the area are talented, and I think that people are starting to recognize that. For a while there, it felt like there was a constant shift in attendance zones and districts and things, the way that worked with the new schools being built, but now it's kind of settled in on what it's going to be and where it is at this point, and I think that has helped to bring some of the rise back to that area as far as the success that some of those teams are having is going.
We got some pictures of Coach Hutch here, I think, Arena League and Southeastern Lions, man. Let's see if we can pull that. Look at you in action, man, as a line.
That was my
That wasn't a typical wide receiver number. I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
So let me be honest with you. When I got there,
was that the only number they had left?
Well, they didn't think I was going to be very good, so they just threw me a jersey, and I ended up stuck with 43 for my first year playing full time.
It worked out.
So yeah, I changed my number to 5 later.
Look, the Voodoo.
The Voodoo.
4, that looks better.
That 4 looks better.
Took the other number, the 3 off.
That was fun football right there. The Voodoo was fun.
And you were doing this at 28.
I was 28 years old when I started playing with the Voodoo. I was actually so I had a shot with them before, because the team went away and then came back. It was gone for like a 2-year hiatus, and then came back, and they kind of rang me up and said, "Come on." So.
And you did Saskatchewan in the Canadian League. You said your experiences there were. Not a lot, I guess.
Different, to say the least. Saskatchewan, there's not a whole lot of stuff going on there. We were in a place called Regina, Saskatchewan. We were pretty much the only game in town, aside from, deer hunting.
Fur trade.
Yeah, and the fur
trade.
They
love football, though, right?
But they do.
They love football.
They love football.
It was interesting in the sense that you go up there as an American, you don't think anybody's going to know who you are, and everybody does.
You're the rock star.
You're the man.
They don't have a choice. They don't have anybody else.
Canada loves their football. I mean,
they do.
And it's shown in America, and I still watch it. I like watching the guys that are from Louisiana play.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
There's a lot of guys.
Ronald McClendon was in that league for a while.
I mean,
for Ponchatoula.
Southeastern's quarterback from a few years ago, Brian Bennett's up there now.
He's a heck of a player.
Just recently, he was up there. He's a heck of a player.
Heck of a player. The first Wildcat guy that was in 1AA. Unbelievable player from Oregon. Went from Oregon to Southeastern. Put Southeastern on a map for a couple of years there. Big season. We'll be right back. We got Mickey Guidry coming out, and we're bringing Hutch and Michael Mauti back on with him. It's just going to be me and Mickey for a segment. We'll be right back.
I'm injury lawyer E. Eric Gaylord. There's a Superman comic where he leaves Earth and comes back only to find a bunch of other superheroes trying to fight evil but just not getting the job done. Well, I'm back. Now there's all these other lawyers on TV saying they can help you with your injury claim, but something's just not the same. There's only one Superman, and there's only one E. E. Eric Gaylord. eGuarantee.com. Get the E. Guarantee.
Honey, what's wrong with the disposer?
What disposer?
Clogged drain? Call Roto-Rooter, America's neighborhood drain expert.
Hi, we are live with the PPTV network, where one of the top athletes is about to make his important decision. We know his character, and nothing will hold him back.
I'm glad to have my family and friends here for this choice. It's more than my career. It will affect the rest of my life. I choose Peak Performance Physical Therapy.
The decision is in. Why choose Peak?
Their reputation and their record of success is unmatched.
When it matters most, another patient chooses Peak Performance Physical Therapy.
Welcome back, Libra King, Louisiana Football Magazine. Go to our website. A couple of kids you're going to meet later in the show. Rhett Guidry from Dunham, a tight end DN. Devin Taylor, an athlete who can play corner or wide out, return punts and kicks. They were in our magazine, our 219 preview issue. If you can't find an issue, go to our website, lafootballmagazine.com. If you're a mom or dad watching or a grandparent, we all know that that is one time in your life to be able to go to the games, and it's over. Once it's over, it's over. And Mickey, your son's going to be on later tonight, and we're going to have you on right now talking about, this is your past, Archbishop Shaw, LSU. You played a little pro ball too, but Mickey Guidry, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having us on, man.
Man, I mean, you know, I grew up an LSU guy in Baton Rouge. Now I'm in the media. The media's for everybody, but growing up here, you're going to be a fan of LSU. And growing up, you know, seeing the guys that left Shaw, like yourself and Ron Sancho that played at LSU. Joe, I won't say Nacho Albergamo. Well, I said it, but he'll be over it. And then you played for Hank Turney, who's now at Ponchatoula. He's on the North Shore. All the great players that came out. You were telling a story, Mickey, that when you were in high school, Hank was a D coordinator when you were a junior.
Right.
And it was Coach Zimmerman. Tell everybody about how that changed over and when you were playing. Because a lot of people in New Orleans seeing this know Coach Zimmerman and know Coach Hank.
Yeah, Hank, he's a defensive guy. He brought the four-man front back in the day when people were only playing five-man front. Everyone in the Catholic League, Jesuit, Brother Martin, everybody was playing a five-man front. And he had a lot of success bringing that four-man front in the late 70s with Forcade and those guys on those teams on the defensive side of the ball. And when Zimmerman left, my senior year in high school, Hank's first year as a head coach was my senior year.
That's amazing.
So, but he's a defensive guy, and
people think he's offensive.
Yeah, because he's known
Mickey
for a lot of
Joseph,
guys. Mickey
Vance
Joseph, and the guys he have now, Ponchatoula putting up a bunch of points. But his background's defense.
And you know, Steve Mott was another great right before you as center with 4K. Went to Alabama. Not a good word around here.
Alabama legend.
But every time I say Alabama on the show, people go, "Are you a fan?" No, I'm not an Alabama fan. But so you go to LSU, and I love your story. You're not being heavily recruited, And then the last couple of games here, you had a couple of coaches come out to see you play, and you had a phenomenal game or two.
Yeah.
Tell everybody about how that kind of went down.
You know, when you're in a Catholic league, you get a lot of exposure. You know, a lot of coaches come down. This is before the internet's, before instantaneous film and footage on
analysts,
kids. Exactly. And we had 2 All-Americans. We had Ron Sancho and Joe Abogamo, who every day you'd walk in a Shaw locker room, you'd see a guy from Penn State, Michigan. You know, I met all of, but they weren't recruiting me. They were recruiting those guys. So I tell the story that I was fortunate to be, you know, in a couple of games at the end of my career where all the coaches were there, but they weren't there to see me, and I just happened to play well. And that's how I got recruited. I came in after playing Brother Martin my last game when we beat Brother Martin, who was ranked #1 in the state. And, you know, we were all celebrating, and Hank told me as I walked in the locker room, he said, my baseball career is over, because I was a baseball guy. And I didn't know what he meant at the time, but now I do. So
football's going to heat up.
Yeah, I played well, and it was fortunate. And you know, it's something that's important, I think, nowadays for coaches to look at, because sometimes you actually got to go watch a kid play.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to look at times and verticals and all the things, how much you can bench press and do those things. Sometimes you just got to watch kids play, and sometimes I think that art is lost a little bit, and some kids get overlooked.
We got some pictures, Mickey, of your past, going back to Shaw. Look at you in Archbishop Shaw.
Hey, look at Hank.
Is that that's
Hank
incredible.
looks like he's about 12.
12 years old.
Yeah.
Good picture there. That's at LSU. Looks like A&M. Looks like the guy tackling you was one of those wrecking crew linebackers.
Yeah.
That's the game you had Sammy Martin. We couldn't play it because we couldn't transfer it over, but that was the play over the middle where Sammy Martin outran the planet.
Right.
That was a heck of a catch and run by Sammy. Another Shaw photo.
Yeah, that's probably pre-Hank Tierney right there.
Looked like St. Aug in the background there.
It is Aug, yep.
St. Aug, the Knights, Purple Knights, and then LSU, man, celebrating a win or a touchdown, one of the two here.
It was a touchdown I actually scored against Alabama when we beat them 14-10, when a touchdown actually meant something, you know, back in the day.
Yeah,
when you scored, and it actually might have meant the difference. Now you got to score 9 or 10 of them to win a game, but we had a lot of great games and memories, and you know, we got 2 SEC championships in the years '86 and '88, and if you look back historically, LSU doesn't have that many SEC championships. We were fortunate enough to pull 2 of them in the mid '80s.
All the coaches you played for, Hank, I mean, it was Bill Arnsparger. You know, Mike Archer came in. What's your thoughts on the coaching today compared to the coaching you had back in those days?
Well, we turned things around in the mid '80s because our staff had guys. When Arnsparger came in, Arnsparger was defense coordinator for the Dolphins, right? Undefeated Super Bowl team in the '70s, inventor of the nickel defense. I mean, just a defensive guy. We had guys, names like Nolan, Schottenheimer, Mangarian, Sullivan. All these guys that are coaching legends now that, you know, basically were on our staff.
And then Schottenheimer's sons are now NFL coaches.
Yeah, well, you know, we just had the lineage that we had come through LSU at the time because of Arnsparger's NFL connections was incredible. So I was fortunate enough to play for some really, really good coaches.
Are you surprised that Coach Sullivan is still coaching pro football as an analyst?
No, he would die if he quit coaching.
I mean, he's pushing his mid-70s right now. It still looks
Pete
like
Jenkins is another guy that was there. You know, legend, coaching legend.
Still works out pro draft picks.
We had just legends on that staff, and it showed. The '87 team, we ended up 5th in the country, and I counted one day, we had 17 of the 22 guys made NFL rosters that started for us. So we had a bunch of good guys.
Mickey, share a story which people would love to see, but jokingly now, probably back then not jokingly, but y'all were playing John Ehret to get to the Superdome in the quarterfinals. They had Leonard Valentine, who was a great quarterback back then.
Right.
And the game could have been in the Dome, but Hank chose to play the game outside, and what happened?
It
rained a little bit?
It rained so hard, I think I completed 3 passes to myself, you know, like throwing the ball and it just slips out of your hand and you got to go knock it down or catch it. It was a November rainstorm, cold front coming through, and Coach Daigle, who ended up being a coach at LSU the next year,
Jesse.
Beat us in the quarterfinals when we had a much better team. If he was sitting right here, he'd tell you the same. But they beat us that night, and that was the end of the career.
Yeah, if you can choose the Dome, take the Dome.
In November in Louisiana?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Take the Dome. No rain, no slosh, Michael Mauti would love that too. You know, you don't have your footing, you know. And those running backs look a lot better when it's slippery field like that if they hold on to the ball. We'll be right back in just a moment.
Well, I've had back pain now and then, but it got so bad I couldn't even bend over. I didn't want to resort to pain pills, so I chose Peak, hoping they could relieve the pain. They got me active again. I even lost weight. I believe in better. I chose Peak.
Choose Peak Performance Physical Therapy.
Honey, what's wrong with the disposer?
What disposer?
Clogged drain. Call Roto-Rooter, America's neighborhood drain expert.
I spent years suffering from knee pain, so I decided to have replacement surgery. My doctor did a great job, and he allowed me to choose Peak for my PT. I should have done this a long time ago. I'm so glad I chose Peak.
Choose Peak Performance Physical Therapy.
I'll leave for a little while. And all you other letters think you can take over my town. Look at you. None of you's even a vowel. If the people want the money they deserve for their accident,
The E-guarantee.
and as for you other letters, it's time you were erased.
Right, two-point conversion. Welcome back, Lee Burkeen, Louisiana Football TV Magazine. Look, we got three superstar Louisiana background legends here, man. We got Michael Mauti at the end of the furniture. We got in the middle Hutch. On the left, Mickey Guidry. I mean, three guys that played high school ball in Louisiana. All three of them played professional ball at some point, somewhere. And Mickey, you played a little Canadian ball too. You and Michael Mauti, I mean, you and Hutch were talking about it.
Yeah.
And you had an experience in the Canadian League.
Yeah, it was tough. You got up there and wasn't making enough money to actually make it make sense. I came home pretty quick.
To pay the bills.
Yeah,
to
my
eat.
experience wasn't very much.
You didn't get the big contract.
No, not at all, not at all. But it's a fun game, as we can tell you, for skilled guys, and you know, if you're in the right place, right time, it can be a good career.
I want to show off. We got some film of Michael Mauti at Penn State. And Michael played at Penn State with his brother. His brother walked on before him as a wideout.
He did, yeah.
And this is you. Wisconsin remembers this play. This is him, 42 coming in. Look, whoa.
That was my true freshman year, playing in some garbage time, but that was when I probably would have got thrown out.
Look at you, boy, on the sideline. Whoa, look at this.
Bringing the energy.
I mean, what a play, man. I mean, Mike linebackers, I mean, you can't be taught this, to close, read. And it's legal. It's legal.
Well, I got the head out of there.
Got the head out, but
that was,
you talked to this guy in later years about, hey, good play after the game, or
you know what? Between the white lines, it's
here's a gunner one here.
Nothing personal.
That
was Sam McGuffey. Remember the YouTube sensation? Doing backflip
from Texas.
We played together before that, so the U.S. Army All-American game, and he was at Michigan. He ended up transferring to Rice, but yeah, that was
4-4 guy that you knocked down.
He was, yeah, that was kind of after that play. They started putting me on defense, and that was fun. So.
Michael, not everybody likes to raise their hand and be a gunner, right?
No,
you got to have a mentality of like, hey, I'm gonna.
Just wanted to make plays. Just get me on the field. It doesn't matter how. It doesn't matter whether it's special teams or defense. And you know, I knew that as a linebacker, special teams is the key to getting on the field on defense.
No, a lot of young kids are watching tonight. A lot of coaches. You played 5 years NFL linebacker. You played Penn State. You made All-American your senior year.
I was.
You came off an injury your junior year. Came back, made All-American your senior year. For kids that get hurt, want to quit. I mean, you're the poster boy on, hey, don't give up. You can come back and make this work.
Look, it's not what happens to you, it's how you respond to it. I mean, that like football is a game of collisions, and there's people flying around. Things are going to happen. The injury rate in football is 100%. Yeah. And so it's all about just bouncing back from those things. I mean, I tore over the course of 5 years in college. I tore 3 ACLs. But it wasn't, you know, I knew I was good enough, and you just could, you know, have belief in yourself and just continue to work and bounce back whatever obstacle comes in your way. And that's kind of, you know, I had some fortunate to have some good people around me, but that's, just because you break a finger or, whatever happens, it doesn't matter. It's all relative. Just getting through it and just continue to play and, have fun.
What I tell people all the time, I think football gets picked on more, but some of the worst concussions have been in other sports, soccer, cheerleading, riding a motorcycle, your car, getting out, just waking up in the morning, falling off your bed. You can have a concussion 10,000 different ways, and it doesn't belong to football. So, any sport, there's some kind of injury that you could have.
For sure. We're dealing with the collision contact sport, right? Well, I think it's great, the awareness that has come to the concussion issue, because, these young kids developing, their brains are still, but it's really those, so we can diagnose them on the field when they happen, pull the kids out, okay, do you have a concussion? Those processes I think are getting better as we move into the future here, but no, it's still, you're right about that. I think it's, it's kind of a media thing. Let's get to the data and what's real, and then now we can, help treat these kids and let them have fun on the field playing ball.
I'm going to start with Michael. I'm going to get Mickey's opinion and Hutch's opinion about the Saints. I watched the Cowboys. I was a Steelers fan growing up. I like the Saints. I always liked the Saints, but I was a Bradshaw Steelers fan. And if the Steelers and Saints played, I had to go Steelers, but it was the Saints otherwise. But the defensive performance by the Saints was off the charts, Michael, and you were a linebacker. What do you think of that effort? You know a lot of those guys. You played on that team with a lot of those guys.
I did. Well, at least we know where you stand, Lee, as far as your loyalty. Fair. Steelers
no,
come in town. We know that.
I don't miss the Saints game. If it's the Steelers, if it's the Steelers,
I'm messing with you. No, honestly, the defense is going to have to. They know that they're going to have to win these games, or at least be more of a factor. And you could see the other night. The turnover differential, they forced 2 turnovers. Marcus Williams with the pick, A.J. Klein with the forced fumble. And Teddy's doing a good job, I think, of just managing the game. He just can't lose the game. So controlling the ball, just taking care of the ball. And but again, a lot of people, they forget about that injury Teddy had. The fact that he's on the field doing what he's doing, he's going to continue to get better. This is his first football in a long time. So.
And you played with him in Minnesota.
I did. We drafted him in the first round when I was in Minnesota, so I spent some time with him. But I know he works hard. He's a great guy, a great locker room guy to be around. So those guys believe in him. They're not going to bring in another quarterback. So it's like, hey, this is our guy. So let's ride and get be as good as we can be. But the defense, and Dennis Allen's doing a great job with that defense.
I'll tell you what's amazing. Ezekiel Elliott was running over everybody, shut him down. Their wide receiver from Alabama was averaging 8 catches a game, shut him down.
Lattimore shut him down.
And then the O-line for Dallas has 5 Pro Bowlers. And they've just attacked that offense and just shut it down. Dak, his worst game of the year. And he's coming into his own. And the whole team was healthy for Dallas, so there wasn't any injuries.
Yeah, the defense, no, I don't mean to take up all the talking here. We're talking about the Demario Davis on the defense. That core Mike linebacker, that leadership, kind of the guy that's running the show, it's been a while since they've had that guy. I'd compare him, it's been maybe since Vilma that they've had that true Mike.
That's a big one, yeah.
And Demario's playing as good a football as I've seen him play. And those other guys are kind of getting, now you got Cam and those guys. But in the back end, they're growing up still. There's some young guys in the back end, Lattimore, Von Bell. That's
Demario's you got to kind of calm him down. He's so active and closing.
Man, he's playing great football. He really is. So and they're coming together still.
I think the young D linemen are coming around. Hutch, what do you think of the Saints?
Well, we were talking earlier, and I just said I thought that they asked Teddy Bridgewater to do exactly what he needed to do. And if you look at the first game against Seattle and the numbers that he was able to put up there, I thought they were very Teddy Bridgewater numbers, which is fine. It was like 19 for 27 or something like that, and 170 yards and a couple touchdowns. And they're not asking him to do too much. And I think that they, who could you have as a better play caller than Sean Payton to put you in a position to be successful? And he understands his personnel. He understands who he's working with at this point, and he puts that guy in a position to be successful. And he doesn't ask him to do too much, and it's worked out for him well. No touchdowns last game, but, sometimes the defense has to pick you up. And they were able to possess the ball enough and move the ball enough to get them in field goal range for, for the points that we needed to have. And, I thought they were successful with the game plan. It had to be what it was going in.
I love defensive games. I'm old school. My dad was a youth league coach 30 years. He was a defensive guy. I grew up a more of a defensive guy. The spread is fun. It's entertaining. but not a lot of national championships on spread teams. We'll talk about that when we come back. We got another segment with Mickey, get his thoughts on the Saints, and also about the spread offense and where we're going with football, with also Hutch and Michael Mauti. In segment 6, we got our Dunham recruits, Rhett Guidry and Devin Taylor. We'll be back in just a moment.
I'm injury lawyer E. Rhett Guidry. There's a Superman comic where he leaves Earth and comes back only to find a bunch of other superheroes trying to fight evil, but just not getting the job done. Well, I'm back. Now there's all these other lawyers on TV saying they can help you with your injury claim, but something's just not the same. There's only one Superman, and there's only one E. E. Rhett Guidry. eGuarantee.com. Get the E. Guarantee.
Hi, we are live with the PPTV network, where one of the top athletes is about to make his important decision. We know his character, and nothing will hold him back.
I'm glad to have my family and friends here for this choice. It's more than my career. It will affect the rest of my life. I choose Peak Performance Physical Therapy.
The decision is in. Why choose Peak?
Their reputation and their record of success is unmatched.
When it matters most, another patient chooses Peak Performance Physical Therapy.
Honey, what's wrong with the disposer?
What disposer?
Clogged drain? Call Roto-Rooter, America's neighborhood drain expert.
Welcome back, Lee Burkeen, Louisiana Football TV Magazine. We got a great crew of guys on, and we're going to get back to Michael Mauti and Hutch Gonzales and also Mickey Guidry later in the show. Again, Rhett Guidry, we got highlights of Rhett, who's a tight end, DN at Dunham. Very much a sleeper. Late bloomer tight end. Foster Morrow was on our cover. If you know Foster, he caught his first touchdown pass with the Oakland Raiders this past week. Went out and scouted Foster. He weighed 240 as a senior, 6'5", played basketball. That's when I really knew this guy had the hands and the feet and everything. And goes to LSU. They don't throw the ball a lot, not like this year. And he gets involved, maybe not as much as the tight ends are used in the Big Ten where Michael played. But it's working out. But a similar player. And then Devin Taylor, a great sleeper athlete who's been out so far. It's going to come back later on the later end of the season for Dunham. You'll be able to meet these two kids. But I want to get back to Mickey. We're talking about offenses in the NFL, the Saints, LSU. Not a lot of spread teams, like Hutch said, full-blown spread teams that won national championships.
No, I mean, you know, football, I believe, is still won and lost up front. You know, you look at high school right now in this area, and I went and watched Catholic High play the other day, Coach, and they're just so stout up front.
Special team, right?
And then the St. Thomas More is going to be a heck of a game.
Yeah, you know, and you know, when you've got that, you can do some things with your offense that teams can't. And I think you got to run the ball. And the teams, even you look at the great Alabama, Clemson teams in the NCAA, the teams that run the ball when it comes down to it. Team that runs a little bit better when Alabama plays Oklahoma or Clemson play. Whoever runs the ball actually usually wins the game. So there's still something in that concept that you have to be able to bring linebackers up to be able to throw over them with the run game, and that's as old as football. And even though the concepts have changed and the play calling's changed and the scoreboards have changed and the rules have changed to make it more an offensive game, still up front is the key to all the success.
And if you're not 3 deep, your defense is gassed in the second quarter. We're getting no rest.
Well, you can see that in the Saints game. They were making a great commentary on it, how the beginning of the drive you get good pass rush, and then the longer you keep the ball, the pass rush starts slowing down because those guys get winded. And I can't talk bad about the Cowboys, by the way, because my daughter's a Cowboy cheerleader, right? Yeah. So if she ever saw this show and found out that I was talking bad about the Cowboys, she'd kill me. And Jerry Jones would probably fire her too. Right. So, but yeah, we you know, the thing about football is you need to have depth, and in college you can, obviously, because you're not roster limited. But you know, that's another thing that the spread has brought to the game too, is those guys have to chase the ball a lot more, and so you see a lot more athletic guys on the defensive side of the ball than you used to.
Joe Burrow is a little bit different guy for LSU, Mickey?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how good he can be because he's got some really good tests coming up here in the next couple of
Florida
weeks
and Auburn.
that are going to show sort of what he can do in those types of games. But if he gets through these couple of games the way he's played the first few, I can't imagine that he's not in the forefront of the Heisman race, and that big game that comes up later in the year will just be an incredible, hyped up game.
Looking at Penn State, just to go back where Michael played, I mean, that's a defensive conference still. The speed's improved over the years, but the defense is still, I mean, just technique and fundamentals are real strong. Always a lot of linebackers that are good in that league. They had a quarterback up until last year, 6 foot tall, McSorley,
Trace McSorley, yeah.
who could play.
He could play, and he's with Baltimore now. And but I tell you what, they got a kid behind him who's been sitting for 3 years. He's got 1 year to start this year, and he could throw the ball too. And he's been managing games well. And
that's what Tommy Stevens left.
Right.
To go to Mississippi State.
That's right. But no, Coach Franklin's done a great job up there with those guys. He brings in, one thing he can do is he brings in talent, and those guys have been coming in. I mean, I was spent some time with them last season in the locker room a couple weeks, and they got some talent up there for sure. So, but for them, it's about the big games. They got to win the big ones.
Well, when everybody talks about the playoffs, the 4 teams, I want it to go to 8, but every time there's 4, I like to see Big Ten SEC matchups because it's offense, defense, and defense. Because if it's someone that's like Washington State that's putting up 70 a game in the Pac-12, then like Mickey says, ends up being a touchdown game against Alabama or LSU. Mm-hmm. Even Oklahoma State, I think there's not a lot of good defenses in the Big 12.
I mean, I just think the spread has changed the way everybody plays defense in that sense, and I think it gives defenses an opportunity to put more athletes on the field. Typically you don't see especially in those conferences, the 6'4", 265, 255-pound linebacker that you see, this run-stopping monster playing Mike, and they just don't do that because you have to be able to play in space now. You see more dime packages and nickel packages and putting more DBs out there, and free safeties and strong safeties have become, almost outside linebackers in those positions, and now you have more of a corner type playing at a safety position because you have to be able to run and really cut the field off in a lot of those situations. So it's a lot, when you get down here in the SEC a little bit more, you see that size clogging up the middle and those run stoppers, and it just becomes a different game.
And then trenches.
Right.
So it's one of the trenches.
Right.
Like Mickey said.
And hey, kudos to SMU, right? SMU is 4-0 since the first time since 1986.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they had Pony Express, Eric Dickerson, all those guys. Reggie Dupart, who went to John Curtis. Craig James, who was a great running back. They had D tackles that went to the 49ers in the Super Bowl. They were on top of the world. That's when A&M was struggling, when SMU was winning, Mickey.
Yeah. Those are the days where, it was a little. You talk about recruiting back then. It was recruiting with a little different. Yeah, it was a little different kind of mentality back then. But there's so much talent in Texas. You and I were talking about that earlier. There's so much talent in Texas that those guys are starting to build those programs over there. And and Tulane's doing it here in New Orleans. Tulane's doing it, picking up some of the kids that some of LSU and some of the big schools like to go get kids from all over the country, and there's still a lot of the local schools have a lot of talent around here, so these schools are benefiting from that tremendously.
Michael, any predictions on how the Saints can end up before we go?
Listen, I think like Coach Hutch said, if they can make it through 500 until Drew gets back, and I think he might be back sooner than people. I don't know if it'll be 6. No, I can't make any speculations, injuries.
But
he'll be back at some point, and they're going to make a run. Now, because it's always a tale of 2 halves of the season. There's 2 different teams really within a season. But while we're on the SMU train, the leading rusher all time for the SMU.
Fullback for the Saints.
Zach Line, fullback for
the jack of all Swiss Army knife guy.
He's a jet man. We came in together at Minnesota. He's a football guy.
A tank.
Just a tank, man.
240, 250.
He can run, catch, hit, man. He's
Hutch, anything about football from here on out? We're not going to talk about opponents, but tough season left.
Yeah, I mean, just
Mandeville.
A lot of football left to be played. So we're excited about it. We're excited where we are at this point, and then just moving on from here, just continue to get better every week.
Tough game every week.
Every week. district play now, and it's going to be tough every week.
All right, guys, thank you for joining us. Don't
Absolutely.
leave yet.
Thank you.
We've got our recruits coming up, Rhett Guidry from Dunham High School and Devin Taylor. We're going to introduce them in just a moment.
This throbbing neck pain was so bad it moved to my shoulders and was causing severe headaches. Then a friend suggested I choose Peak. 2 weeks later, the pain was completely gone. So glad I chose Peak.
Choose Peak Performance Physical Therapy.
Honey, what's wrong with the disposer?
What disposer?
Clogged drain? Call Roto-Rooter, America's neighborhood drain expert.
I'll leave for a little while. And all you other letters think you can take over my town. Look at you. None of you's even a vowel. If the people want the money they deserve for their accident.
The E-guarantee.
And as for you other letters, it's time you were erased.
My shoulder pain got so bad I couldn't lift anything overhead. So I chose Peak Performance, and I can't believe how much better I am now. Peak really does get you back into the game of life. Choose Peak.
Choose Peak Performance Physical Therapy.
Lee Burkeen, Louisiana Football Magazine. We got one more segment. Guys, we were flowing and talking about the Saints. I was thinking about Breeze coming back. I was getting excited. We're bringing these guys back. So one more segment, and then we're going to have our recruits, segment 6. This is 5, and I do hope Drew Breeze can come back in 6. I know Michael doesn't know. None of us know, but I really hope they can, and I hope they can win 3 more games. If he can't come back, Tampa Bay's the next game. And, man, they're putting up 55 points in a game. With Jameis Winston's on fire now, whoa. Devin White didn't even play. I mean, that's crazy numbers. 55 points in a pro game. Maybe the Patriots playing someone that's not good gets 55 in a game. And the Patriots are 4-0. They're kind of like the Batman villain of the league. Everybody wants them to, like, go away, right? But I love Belichick. I love what he's about. I love that he's just one of the geniuses of the game, you know.
Yeah, they're not going anywhere.
From Parcells.
Well,
Parcells taught, and Chuck Noll taught Parcells.
Yeah, it's old school football.
Old school
but
stuff.
You worry more about the Patriots last year when they were, 500 team in the first part of the season, and ended up being the very best team at the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
This year's a little different for them, so we'll see how that evolves. But just like Mike said, I mean, it's 2 seasons, right? I mean, and last year, absolutely, the Patriots weren't the best team in week 5 or 6, but at the end, when the Rams were scoring 50 points a game and couldn't get in the red zone in the Super Bowl, you saw what real football was about. And, so the NFL is really a long, long season, and you got to wait and see what happens.
Before we get into, rules and regulations for high school football, I want Hutch to talk and what could be improved. We're going to have referees come on in a couple of weeks, so it'll be fun. Let them answer some of these questions,
That'll
right?
be an entertaining show for sure.
But one last thing on the NFL, what's changed is, and I think what's managed so well, Michael knows this, is that practice squad is very important. When you got guys like A.J. Klein and people like Alex Angeline coming off that rookie year, second year getting drafted, or the injury, who gets on the injury report, and picking up free agents at the right time in week 5, 6, 7. You got to stay in shape when you're trying to get re-picked up.
Oh,
guys are being worked out during the season.
Every Tuesday, we have different position group come in with their suitcases and they're in the locker room hanging out. There might be 10 linebackers that are working out trying to get your job. It's a war of attrition throughout the season, but the rosters are fluid. The cutoffs, I think Tuesday at 5 p.m. So
53 man is only that week.
It's week to week. It is week to week.
You might be cut the following week from the 53 man.
Oh, we've had practice squad guys getting cut 1 week, you're going to they've been on 5 different teams and 5 different locker rooms.
Mickey, what do you think of that life compared to when you played?
No, it's, you know, they've had to evolve over time to sort of fill the needs with the injuries, and you know, the game has changed a lot. And you know, a lot of these experiments back when we played with the World League and NFL Europe was the NFL trying to develop other players and kind of a semi-farm system to try to have players ready to go.
And you'd have a contract you might make the whole year. Now you get a contract, you might get your money, and then you're out of work.
Yeah, it's different.
Not unless you play.
We had Donnie Jones on about 3 weeks ago, the punter, just a friend of mine retired from the Eagles, played at LSU, and he said there's 4 kickers right now in the NFL making $7 million a year cut, and they're 28, 27 years old. And they're great kickers. Bad week, couple of bad weeks in a row.
Head coaches go through kickers like they go through bathroom towels. You know, they get wet. It's kind of like flavor
like
of the
week.
week.
Steelers towels. Huh?
Oh, absolutely.
Hutch, the game, high school game, the rules, Friday night lights. What do you think can change? What do you think referees can change to make the game better?
I mean, realistically, there were 4 new rules that were put in this year, and really they haven't affected, you know, as far as I can tell, haven't really affected the game all that much. You know, I think everything that they're trending towards now is safety concern. You know, every new rule that comes through is a safety concern issue, and they're trying to make the game safer for kids. You know, and I think really at the college level, you know, we talked about the targeting, and I would say that if they were going to change something about that, it would have to do with intent. You know, guys coming in and trying to make a play to get somebody in the head, did they intend that, or is it
accidental?
Sometimes you can't control where your head hits,
right.
You know, and it is what it is. So that would be my big thing.
Mickey, kickoffs in high school, you go and watch your son play every week. Should we have a touchback because it goes in end zone? Should we make it different in college? Or is you like the way it is?
I think one of the things I've experienced, really first line, you know, we had Derek Stingley for 3 years at Dunham. I can't count on 2 hands how many punt returns he had for touchdowns. And so I watched my son get flagged a couple of times on the, you know, the blindside hits on the punt returns and those kind of things. And, you know, so the game has changed, and the special team rules, you know, I think that over, you know, if we're sitting here 10 or 15 years from now, I don't even know how much special teams will still be there. You know, it might be, you know, punt, and that's where you get the ball, wherever they catch it or wherever it land. You know, it might be like when you were little kids, and they, you know, because
just walk it off.
Yeah, it's a dangerous part of the game that's hard to enforce. So, you know, who knows where it'll go.
What about these 35-yard field goals, extra points in the NFL?
I mean,
I like it.
Yeah,
you like it?
I like it.
You earn your extra
points. Look, that's such a chip shot for most of these guys.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a kicker at Mandeville High School that can consistently make 35-yard chip shot. Yeah, he's pretty good
player.
And he go down and make a tackle too. He's got a couple tackles on kickoff.
Talk about your kicker. He's 6 yards deep every kickoff.
Yeah, he's pretty special,
Senior.
man. He's a junior. He's got a strong.
I keep saying he seems like a senior.
He's a baby, and he's got a strong leg, big, strong kid. Works hard in the weight room. It's kind of become a trend at Mandeville High School. You know, the kicker before him was now kicking at Alabama, and these dudes kick the air out of the ball, and you know, he's pretty special. But he is a hard worker. He goes above and beyond on most occasions to get out there on his own and rep it.
You have a new DB that's coming on, number 12, Henderson.
Man, special kid. Came off the lacrosse field and decided he wanted to play football. 6'2" and 202 pounds, and runs a 4.5 740, and he
backs it up.
Yeah, he can play. He's got 3 defensive touchdowns in 4 weeks.
Zahn, your senior running backs, D1, your kicker, number 9, your junior linebacker.
John O'Connor. He's got 70 tackles in 4 games.
He's the next Mauti coming out of the school.
He runs and hits.
Todd, your quarterback's a junior. He's got a D1 future, a lot of talent, got a lot of other young guys.
Yep.
Second time, guys. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Don't go anywhere. We've got our recruits from Dunham High School coming up, Rhett Guidry and Devin Taylor from Dunham High School in Baton Rouge.
Honey, what's wrong with the disposer?
What disposer?
clogged drain? Call Roto-Rooter, America's neighborhood drain expert.
When I tore my ACL, I didn't think I'd ever be able to play soccer again. My doctor told me how important physical therapy would be, so I chose Peak. I'm glad I did. Now I'm stronger, faster, better than ever. Choose Peak.
Choose Peak Performance Physical Therapy.
I'll leave for a little while. And all you other letters think you can take over my town. Look at you. None of you's even a vowel. If the people want the money they deserve for their accident.
The E-guarantee.
And as for you other letters, it's time you were erased.
Exercising is my life, so when I had to stop because of my foot and ankle pain, I was absolutely devastated. I chose Peak and they taught me how to relieve the pain. They really do bring out the athlete in everyone. Choose Peak.
Choose Peak Performance Physical Therapy.
Welcome back, Lee Burkeen, Louisiana Football TV Magazine. We've got highlights that we're going to show at some point in the interview, but I've got Rhett Guidry, who's the son of Mickey Guidry, and he's a tight end, defensive end from Dunham High School. And we also have Devin Taylor, who's he's the best athlete on the team. And I know the team's waiting for him to get back, and they're going to welcome him back with open arms. Right, Devin?
Yes, sir.
No timetable, just kind of see when everything's going to get.
Yes, sir. About 2 to 3 more weeks. Just waiting on the MRI results to see what's going on.
Team needs you, man. You're punt return, kick return, you're a DB. You play a little linebacker, you play receiver.
Yes, sir.
What don't you do?
I mean, whatever the team needs. Like I said, Coach wanted to put me anywhere. If we playing like a really scrambly quarterback, I mean, Coach Randy will put me in at the end, sometimes linebacker to spy on the quarterback. So, I mean, I do whatever.
You know what I'm really proud of? Tell everybody your ACT score.
26.
26, man. Great job.
Thank
you can go to just about any school, to college, and I think you're a prospect. You know, you can run. You're a playmaker in open field, and then Rhett Guidry, tight end, man. I mean, you've grown into this position.
Yeah, definitely.
A year ago, met you in warm-ups. I didn't even know that Mickey was your dad. I just saw this tall kid a year ago walking around in warm-ups, and you've put on the weight. Now you're starting to look like a tight end. You're 215, 220, 6'5". And I heard you had good hands, and then I saw you catch 4 touchdown passes in 4 games this year. Great hands.
Yeah.
Where do you get those hands from? Your dad was a quarterback.
Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of was always able to catch the ball growing up. I just always was taught hands, you know.
Yeah.
Being able to catch the ball and not cradle in it, and you know. Not just
doing a great job because you were the quarterback in spring, and the team moved a couple of guys up so you could go to your more natural position, tight end. And you're also the defensive end on the team.
Yeah, I definitely grew into that spot more when I put on more weight. They saw I could be more of a use catching the ball and running.
We're going to show some film on Devin and you. We're going to start with Rhett. Rhett's film right here. He's got offensive plays and defense. This is a tight end. Right here over the middle, right here on the over the shoulder catch in the end zone. That's a tight end, folks. And this is lined up as a wide receiver over the middle. Incredible play. This is hard for a big tight end to do this kind of stuff in high school. But you've only dropped, I counted, 1 pass that was in your hands in 4 games. So here's another catch right here in the end zone, wanting the ball. I mean, if the ball gets near you, you're going to catch the ball. And I think in time, you're going to weigh 240, 250, and be a big-time tight end. So we're putting you on the map today, you and Devin, getting the word out. And your ACT is a 29, right?
Yes, sir.
You going for the 30?
I think so. I'm going to try it one more time and see if I can't get that big 3-0.
So I'm going to ask Devin after you, but what are your schools that you like? I heard Tulane. I heard you like Tulane.
Yeah, Tulane.
Cornell?
Cornell. LA Tech, and some in Texas too, Rice, Tulane, or Rice, TCU, and SMU.
You visited some of those Texas schools in this past summer. Who did you like the most out of Rice, SMU?
I liked SMU.
a lot. But they're all good schools, you know.
Great academic. And Devin, have you done any visits to any unofficial, any games, anything?
I've done a couple of unofficial visits in the spring. I started game visits in October. I'm heading up to Tufts pretty soon, and Cornell too.
We've got some highlights on you your junior year, because you hadn't played your senior year. You got some music with it. And this is you as a wideout. Over the shoulder, again, hard catch, and then you can finish the play. You outran the corner and the safety, Devin. Here's another play, and you're a cornerback too, full-time.
Yes, sir, cornerback and safety.
And here's another play over the middle, over the safety, strong safety, and the corner for about 50 yards. And this is as a return guy. Now, is this with Stingley too? You got some of the balls last year?
This is the one game that he got hurt. He actually got hurt in this game, and I had to go back and return. So this is probably like one of the 3 returns I got the whole year.
And then you return a touchdown.
Yeah.
You kept the job at an all-time high there. I mean, what does it mean to get this guy back, Rhett?
Oh, it's really a vital position because, like you said, he plays so many different positions that he's really needed on this team.
What are your goals for college? If college coaches are watching, what do you want to improve?
Oh man, I'm really just working on trying to get faster, bigger in the weight room, definitely, and just working hard.
Y'all doing a good job, having a good year. Lost a lot of players. Devin, your goal for this season when you get back?
My goal for this season is just to like leave my mark and just train up the younger guys, and they don't have really like a senior or like a true dominant junior that's coming up. So, I mean, my job to me is like I really can't impact this year like stat-wise. I'm not really a big stat guy. I just go out there and play the game, and to me it's just big just to, just leave what I know behind, because I changed my running back from changed my position from running back to receiver. When I touched varsity, so yeah. I had a lot to learn. And
you learned a lot from Stingley.
Yeah, I did, and learned a lot from Coach Byron Johnson and Coach Weiner. They did a good job with me, and just leaving behind what I know. And
guys, good luck to you. Y'all having a great year, and y'all play tough. Y'all got some tough guys, and wish y'all the best to get to the playoffs. I know y'all still got to win some more to get in, and good luck to Dunham. Good luck, Rhett and Devin.
Thank you.
Okay, you're watching Louisiana Football TV Magazine. Next week we've got another great show, and in the upcoming weeks we're going to have some great NFL players, college coaches, high school recruits. You're watching Louisiana Football TV Magazine.